Hey guys, Jim here. I want to share with you now another really exciting knife from David Deng out of Reate Knives. And I do want to make that correction, by the way, on the pronunciation while I'm beginning the video here. After meeting David for the first time at the Blade Show 2 weeks ago, I did find out it's not Reate, but it is Reate Knives. So I apologize for anybody whom I may have confused with that. But nobody really knew. It's one of those things that, you know, we've only ever seen typed on the internet. We've never actually heard someone pronounce it properly. So there you go. It's Reate Knives. And you've seen me do a lot of videos on Reate Knives. I have quite the large collection direct from them. But now we're seeing a large number of makers and designers going to Reate and having production knives built. And I want to be very clear when you see, because you're going to see this video and soon you're going to see the prototype for the Todd Begg Quaken that was made by Reate Knives. They're not mid-techs, they're not customs, they are full-on production knives, and that's why they're so low priced. Now, what we're going to be looking at here is actually designed by Faisal Yamin, and you've heard me discuss him in the past as well. I did a feature on him and Les Voorhees where I had 3 of his knives in one video. Amazing designer, really swell guy too. I've had a lot of chances to kind of talk with him. We had a couple of chances to hang out. He's really a stellar guy, and he's done collaborations with pretty much all of the biggest names that you can think of in the industry, and he's done some amazing things. So what he decided to do, much like what Leon Ma just did with Reate Knives, was to create a full-on production knife that was more accessible to people price-wise. This is an exclusive model that was made specifically for Vince Roberts over at Fort Henry Custom Knives. Now, the unfortunate thing is by the time I was able to get mine, the run is sold out. These are done. However, to keep you from getting too depressed, there is a second run coming where they're going to use more upscale materials. I don't know what those are yet. You know, it could be Timascus, it could be S90 steel, I don't know. All I know is it's upgraded materials is all I was told. So let's take a quick look at the knife. Get it open. This is the first Persian that I've ever personally owned. And the first thing that's going to pop out at you is this incredible line that flows directly from the blade into the handle of the frame. This is insane. The work and the calculations that had to be done to line all of that up perfectly. This really is a stellar, stellar piece. And again, like all Reate knives, insane flipping action and super smooth. Also, like all Reate knives, we're looking at S35VN for the steel. Nice, clean, stonewashed finish. Now, they did make a couple of specialty pieces that were done in different anodizing and stuff like that. Really cool things. But let's go back to the beginning, and you'll understand why this is such an exciting knife. Basically, David had gone to Faisal and approached him for a design idea, but he didn't have any time to mess with it. Then he was doing a lot of stuff with Les Voorhees. I mean, he's just working with everybody. So what he did was he started talking with Vince at Fort Henry Knives after he finally got his hands on a Horizon C. He saw the construction, he saw the quality, he felt the action, and went, wow, this is really somebody that I really should be spending some time working with. So basically, at the end of the year, Vince asked him if he could design a knife based on an idea that he had, and they would have Reate make it. So this is really kind of a two-way collaboration between Vince and Faisal. Vince gave him very rudimentary drawings and said, this is the basic idea that I have. Can you spruce it up and throw a little bit of your spit on it, and let's see what we can make out of it. The biggest thing for Faisal is that it's got to have very sweeping lines. He's big into the whole sweeping lines, but it had to be usable above all else. And he really put a nice blade shape on this. Some people like recurves, some people don't. I happen to love a recurve blade. Look how much belly that blade has. Now you're looking at a 4-inch blade. It doesn't seem as large as it is. As a matter of fact, I had to measure it for myself just to make sure, because I really thought this was about a 3 3/4 inch knife. It's not. It's a 4-inch blade, 8 1/4 inches overall. So as you see, it pretty much fills the screen here. I could probably back the camera up a little bit, but with as much detail as there is in this knife, I really wanted you to get a close-up view of it. Another thing that Faisal likes to do is he wants to fit as much of the blade into the handle as possible. And what I mean by that is not having this much left over of handle. He really cuts it as close as he can to where your fingers aren't going to catch the tip of the blade, but you're right there. I mean, look how close that is. Look at the detail. This is perfect. So you've got a nice balance in that handle to blade ratio. It is super ergonomic. Again, this is always subjective. For my hand, I wear a size large glove. It fits me, I don't want to say like a glove, but I painted myself into a verbal corner there. It fits me like a glove. It's the perfect size for me. Now, you guys know I really like to stay between 3.5 and 3 3/4 inch blades, but there are times I make exceptions and do a 4-inch blade, and this is the perfect exception. And what you've got here is there's a lot of weight to this blade. There's a decently thick blade stock, but with the height of this blade, you've got a lot of weight being flung out of here. Another thing that was particularly special about this design was the pocket clip. This is one of the areas that Faisal really doesn't focus a lot on. He's not a big fan of designing clips. It's a long and arduous process, and well, some people just don't appreciate it. This perfectly accents the knife, flows with the knife. It's got the feel, I don't want to say the feeling, but I guess operation is the first word that pops off the top of my head. It's got the same type of operation as a spring clip would. So it's got great retention. It's really easy in and out of the pocket, but it's a fully sculpted 3-dimensional clip, and they've skeletonized the middle there. This is phenomenal work. You got to realize this is not a custom knife. So these little accents that you're seeing are crazy. To know that you're getting into a knife that's going to flip as well as this does on a multi-row caged ball bearing system, 6AL4V titanium handles in a frame lock, with, by the way, and I always like to do a close-up on the Reate knives here. See if we can get that to show up better. I don't know if I really can, but there it is. There is a steel lock bar insert inside. Now, when you see anybody doing a steel lock bar insert, and I'm talking on $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 customs, if they do a steel lock bar insert, they cut the lock bar lower, they have the steel there, and it's bolted in. So you'll always see the steel engaging the steel, but you see the steel here. When you're looking at the knife, and here we'll close it up and I'll give you the better view here. What you're seeing on this knife is all titanium with the accents. You don't see an interruption in that flow of design by having a little wedge of steel there. Yet it's in there and doing the job that it needs to do. It's just hidden away. Now, there may be custom makers doing this, but I've personally not handled any knife from any maker where they've completely hidden away their steel lock bar insert. Other things to mention, and Reate does this very, very well, is the jimping on the flipper tab, because David does a wonderfully strong detent on all of his knives. So you really want a secure grip on that flipper tab, and it just rockets out. Again, multi-row bearing system, strong detent, perfect action. It's just phenomenal. Now, one other thing I want to mention to you here is there's a very pronounced thumb ramp. The jimping that's on here is different than any jimping I've ever had on my knives. It's almost like it's smooth if you just gently rub it. Gently rub it, baby. But when you jam your finger in there, or she likes that, you are locked in. It's almost like little teeth. Now, it is different than other jimping I've felt, because either it's too smooth and it doesn't do anything, or it's too rough. They've put too much of an edge on each individual tooth I don't want to call each individual jimp, because I don't know if that's a real word. So there's a delicate balance in between. With this knife, it's grippy. It won't tear you up. I mean, the edges right here, there's a little bit of sharpness there, I'm not going to lie. But when you throw your thumb in there, it doesn't let you move. All you're seeing is the movement of you know, the skin separating from my thumbnail there. But there's no, it's not letting go of my thumb. You've also got this nice indentation right here. Oh, yeah. Beautiful groove running through the blade, continues directly through the frame, but then notice also all of the additional milling all the way through. This is a fully sculpted knife from A to Z. There's not one area that's not beautiful, in my opinion. Again, great jimping here on the back side. So again, it's not going to let go of your skin. It's not letting you go at all. Standoffs instead of a backspacer. There's your external blade stop. There's only one thing I would have changed. I would love to have seen if the blade, the back side of the blade here could have been matched up with the shape of the frame right here. That's it. And that's a very, very teeny tiny nitpick. It's a silly nitpick, especially in this price range. So you've got a very grippy knife, very easy to hold on to. You could really do serious work with this. And because you're not paying, you know, a ridiculous amount of money, you don't really mind giving it a little bit of work. So your pivot is titanium, the entire frame is titanium, and the clip is titanium. The hardware and standoffs are done in stainless steel. Little bit less expensive than dealing with titanium. That also helps keep costs down. The other thing I want you to notice here is the geometry of the flipper tab. This is something that, while Faisal is the one that designed it, it's something that Reate does quite often. They keep the furthest edge, or furthest point I should say, of the flipper tab, where your finger is going to engage it, forward of the pivot. So here we have a Horizon D in full tie. Again, superb action, super amazing feel all the way around. Nice big knife. Here's another version of the D. This was the custom one that David made for me. The quality of these knives is incredible. Now, if we back these up, butt to butt, you'll see that the sizes are almost identical. Yet this one seems more compact, but when you're flipping it out, the blade looks even larger. That's what's so fun about this. Now again, all of the Valkyries that were listed at Fort Henry Custom Knives did sell out. They're done, they're gone. However, Vince emailed me, I don't know, a couple of days ago and said, hey, by the way, I held one back and we're going to be doing, I don't know if it's going to be an auction, if it's going to be a lottery. I'm fairly certain it's going to be an auction. What you'll probably want to do is keep an eye on his Instagram. Right now it is June 20th. I don't know when he's going to do it. I would assume in the next few days if he's telling me about it last week. So keep an eye out there. I mean, if you're watching this video in August of 2017, not valid. But if you're watching it within a day or two of it being uploaded, June 20th, then definitely keep your eye out if you want to get one of these. Only a handful of people got these. There were not many made, and everybody has raved about them. Listen, I'm going to get plenty of the YouTube trolls that we've seen on the other Reate videos. Oh, I can't believe you're buying a knife made in China. Ooh, they're China. We don't like them Chinese. Holy shit. That takes its toll on my voice. How do you guys talk like that all the time? Listen, there is no way that a knife could be made that performs in the way that this does. with the precision that this does, with the amount of time and detail that goes into these for a full production knife, and have them done in the US, not at these prices. It just can't be done. And I know this because I have talked to no less than a dozen high-end custom knife makers that have decided they want to make either a mid-tech or a production knife. And guess where they're going? They have priced out all of the manufacturers that can perform these tasks here in the US. And then they handled Reate's knives. And it's not always about cost. Yes, with Reate, it's going to be a little bit less expensive. But every single one of them said, once I handled one of their knives, whether it be a Horizon or a Hills or whatever, the quality blew them away. They'd have David make them a prototype. And hold on one second. Just reach over and grab the damn thing. Listen, do you think Todd Begg is going to go to just anybody to make a knife with his name on it? Nope. And this is the prototype for the Sun Tzu Quaken that's going to be coming out very soon. The pre-orders are already open. Some of the biggest names, some of the most well-respected American custom knife makers who will still continue to produce their own custom knives in America that may make a mid-tech in America are looking at being able to satisfy the lower price market, the people that generally will never be able to own one of their knives. I mean, a custom Todd Begg Quaken, the only way you can buy a Quaken, starts at over $4,000. That prices a lot of people out. They're just never going to own one. So he says, how can I do it for around $400? It's got to be a production knife. Who can put that level of detail and this degree of precision and perfectly mimic the handmade prototype that I give them? And I've handled them both. And they are so damn close that if you close your eyes, you probably wouldn't know the difference in the action, the way that it feels. You open your eyes and you look at them and you can't tell the difference. That's how precise Reate is. So I don't care if you don't like things made in China. You can continue to comment all over the YouTube videos on your keyboard that was made in China, on your computer that was made in China, or on your phone that was made in China, sitting on your chair that was made in China, and say whatever the hell you want. If you don't want it because it's made in China, guess what? It wasn't made for you. And that's okay. There are so many great knives out there. Feel free to buy nothing but an American-made product. I support American-made products, absolutely. And if I have my choice, almost always do. I mean, last year it was pretty much the first time I bought a car that wasn't made in America. It's British, but still. This is the way to go. And what Reate is doing is completely changing the face of the knife industry. I never thought I would see the day that that would happen. When you see guys that know the quality levels that should be coming out of a high-end knife, like Todd Begg, like Faisal Yamin, like Vince. Vince has handled more custom knives than probably anybody you're ever going to meet. And if he said, I've got a great design, and I would love for you, Faisal, to refine it and give it that leaf-like character and those beautiful sweeping lines and create something magical and have Reate make it, then I promise you, you cannot be disappointed. You know the people that bitch the most about Reate knives are the ones that have never touched one. That's okay. That's entirely up to you. Do whatever you want to do. I'm perfectly happy with the 7 that I own. And I like to think that I have a few fairly decent knives in my collection, to the point where, not that it makes me special, but to the point where I recognize what quality is. And I still gladly put that rocket in my fucking pocket. It's just a great knife. And at the price points that you're seeing, you don't mind carrying it, you don't mind getting a couple scars on it, and you don't mind using it. And after all, that's what they're made for. So let's have fun with it. So keep your eyes out. Variation 2 will be coming. I don't know when, but it'll be coming fairly soon. Follow Faisal on Instagram. Follow Vince at Fort Henry Knives on Instagram. And keep your eyes out for it. They'll certainly make an announcement before I know about it. And grab one if you can. And if not, at least try to get in on the auction that Vince is going to be doing in the next few days on the last remaining original Valkyrie. There you go, guys. That's all I got to say about that. Just a hell of a friggin' great knife with beautiful design and impeccable detail throughout. There is nothing imperfect about this knife. The production is as flawless as you could expect from a mid-tech or a custom. Look at these wonderful finger scallops. The comfort is incredible. And you know what? If Faisal had collaborated with a high-end knife maker, that'd be $1,000 with no changes, just titanium and S35 VN built like it is, and it wouldn't even have a multi-row bearing system. That'd be $1,000. Sure is nice to get a break every now and then. All right, guys, I'm out of here for now, and I'll catch you on the next video.